how people kind of navigate it and some certain perceptions of people in the space. But on the music side is really, I like I said, really is just me, just really in the like I would say infant stages, for as me creating the music and so forth. Haven't recorded anything yet, but definitely researching, learning, and developing as I go. So once I do, record, I definitely be in a more better space. If that
Yeah, I
makes sense,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, 100%. And the the fitness side, right, for
Hmm.
you, is very much like a level of discipline, to be
Hmm.
able to have like that strict curriculum, because something that gets, I think, altered a lot is people think it's easy. It's
Hmm.
easy to be able to go to the gym every single day. It's easy to be able to follow a regimen, get the right reps in, and it just happens overnight. You go on Instagram, you start flexing, you be showing off them abs, you're like,
Yeah.
ah. But
Uh-huh.
that's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of discipline that goes into that to get there, you know?
Right. Definitely. And yeah, a lot of folks think if I just download this app that got the workouts on it or look at a YouTube.
Dude, I see all those commercials all the fucking
Right.
time on YouTube, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, please stop, bro. Like, we knew Weight
Uh-huh.
Watchers was a lie, like in the end of the '90s. We're just like,
Hmm.
we out.
Definitely, man. And when they, like I said, they see that, and to a degree it helps, but for looking on YouTube and stuff like that, to a degree it helps. It definitely gets them off the couch, so to speak. But it is not necessarily meaning that it might be fully conducive to their goals, because once they don't start it, and they might see some results and so forth, but but in the long run, 3 months, 6 months from now, when the results may wane or plateau, they kind of start thinking like, oh, I haven't lost the weight that I was losing in the beginning, and still I haven't reached my goal. What's going on? I don't did this workout, so forth, and that's where pretty much
you
where we
you
come in at.
lose you lose like your purpose of your journey. You lose the reason why you're doing this.
Hmm.
Did you I mean, you obviously got into fitness for a reason. Was it like for mental health, or you needed that discipline in your life? Like, what got you so into fitness that you wanted to make this a career?
Great question. I've been pretty much of a active or athletic type of guy growing up and so forth, and my dad was a big gym goer as well. So basically, you can kind of just think about me. First memories of me, being on his back while he do push-ups and stuff like that, and to up until the point where he, got me into the gym, got me my I'm going back a little bit, but got me into
No,
my
sure.
first first weight set at around 15 and so forth. But and so
Wait
and
a
I
minute. You started weightlifting when you were 15?
yeah, I had a well, it was just touch and go, playing around with
Damn.
it. Yeah, I had a first weight set around that time. Yes, sir.
So
Uh,
you've been doing this for a minute,
right.
like a real ass minute. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna get into that. So, like I said, when you 15, you just really just finding out and discovering yourself in the gym and so forth. So that's, I would say, most of what that really was about. But like I said, up until that time, all the way up until like I say 19, my dad was diagnosed with cancer on my 19th birthday,
I'm
and
sorry, dude.
I appreciate it. It's all good. And go ahead.
Did he pass?
Yeah, it been about finna be 11 years, and it's 11 years on the 23rd of this month. Yes, sir. So, but up until that time,
Damn.
he survived almost 8 9 years after that diagnosis. But let's say when he first got diagnosed, he kind of got even more on a health quest and so forth. You were reading all these books. What would Jesus eat? And he was doing all type of things, and so forth. But one thing he did was got me and our family into the gym. So my mom, my sister, and him got us a gym membership. That was my first gym membership there. Now They worked out maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month, and then they were gone. But I stuck with it. You know what I'm saying? Now I gotta admit that when I first started, it was I go in there 2 weeks strong, might not see me like 2 or 3 weeks, but I kept going. And it wasn't really until like I started seeing results, people started complimenting me, asking me questions, wanting to work out with me. That what got me more, I would say, more into it, and stuff like that, and taking it more serious for as me working out. And then fast forward that I used to work at Levi's. This woman asked me, uh, she asked me like, "Yo, are you doing all this working out and so forth? Have you thought about going to the being a fitness trainer or personal trainer?" And at that time, I didn't. So I looked into it, researched to see if it was something.
All about the artist. That is the whole purpose of this podcast, period. And you have a really valuable tool. You can share this with artists, people that are creative, someone that can enjoy this podcast and really enjoy the experience of Lost in the Groove. So, with that, let's jump back to today's episode, shall we?
I think I could do, and pretty much the rest is history from there. So started off like that, and I would say so. From them humble beginnings of starting with my dad to it multiplying it or snowballing into me becoming a fitness trainer now.
Yeah, it's interesting because I lost my dad when I was 21.
Mm.
He died of pneumonia and COVID complications during like
Sorry
the
to
first wave.
sorry to
Yeah,
hear
and
that.
like, but like that feeling of like losing someone that means so much to you in your life,
Hmm.
but being able to where you have somebody that kind of gets you on your feet,
Hmm.
gives you that mindset and that attitude to like push forward. Like, if this is what you want to do in life, this is what you're passionate about, do something with it.
Yeah.
How I can't even imagine what that would have been. Like, I understand, like, he lived for 8 years,
Hmm.
but still being able to continue even when he wasn't around anymore,
Hmm.
that's hard, especially when you're grieving.
Man, it's funny you said that because the day that he passed, I went to the gym the next day, worked out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
And my workout partner, when I told him, I said, "Man, he knew he was sick because he knew my dad too as well, and everything." And I said, "My dad passed." And he was stunned, taken aback. And he like, "What? What you in here for?" I like, "Man, if you really knew my dad, that's kind of how he would want it." Because I remember his side of folks, my aunties, them, and everything, sisters and stuff. They came to the house here in Mississippi. He's from Alabama, and they came to the house, just to really like see him, and just really be in his presence and so forth. And before they came, he was like, "I don't want y'all to. I want no crying. I don't want no pity or anything like that. This just a regular family get together." That's basically how he said it. He wanted it to carry on like that, and that's pretty much what we did. So, in that same vein, that's how I acted, and that was my way of dealing with grief anyway. So a lot of folks a lot of folks maybe maybe smoke, maybe drink, maybe do other things, eat or something like that. My therapy is in the gym. So that was one way of me coping with that.
And it also brings, memories to you as well,
Right,
because
definitely.
right, because your dad was the one that got you introduced into this, and
Right.
even with everything that's going on, I mean, especially with the cancer diagnosis, and he's like, nah, let's just keep going. Let's just keep
Right.
seeing where this takes us.
Right.
And to eventually that like leaving to you, like making that like get to teach people the same type of attitude and respect that your dad put into you.
Yeah.
I think, look, parents are not perfect, and
Hmm.
like you said, everybody grieves differently.
Hmm.
Some people do it with the drink,
Yeah.
or just ghosting and pretty much dying themselves for a year.
Hmm.
But you know what that person wants from you.
Yeah.
You know, you know what they expect from you. And
Hmm.
I totally feel you. Like, man, like my dad was an immigrant. He came here from Africa. He came here from Morocco.
Okay.
He was very resilient. He believed in hard working, taking care of your family, being kind to others, always trying to see, like, putting yourself in another person's shoes.
Hmm.
And even though he's not here anymore, like, that is very much the attitude of like me and a lot of my other siblings.
Hmm.
You know, that is who that is what makes us us more
Right.
than anything else, right?
Right. Yeah, I definitely agree, and other folks, they was really like thinking that we like some folks think you should grieve a certain way or one way, like I should be just down on my luck and in a dark room, just soaking, and that never had been me, and so forth. So, and I do credit that a lot to the gym and as well. But that being my not only just to look a certain way, feel a certain way, but it's also, like I said again, my therapy. Used to be games back then. You want to knock a nigga head off or something like that. You mad at something, you'll take it out on the video
Shit.
games and stuff like that. But I
Yeah, I
traded
know what
that.
you're I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so that's what it used to be. But I
You,
traded
you,
that.
you know, you know, you know what's hilarious? I
Uh,
remember, like, a lot of people don't remember this, but back in the day, we didn't have like, the D pad. We didn't have the D pad. We just had the up and
mm,
down, left and right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
if you be playing those race games, or especially like NBA, like basketball or football or
Uh
stuff,
huh.
it was a little harder to get around.
Right.
Bro, you fingers feel like they got arthritis for days because you be sitting with their controllers. You're like, "Da-da-da." You're trying to do
Yeah.
both thumbs, trying to
Right.
get it.
Right. Right. Right.
And like, they don't understand the pain no more because it's just got a thing
Nah.
that could just swivel around.
Nah. So that means you around my age then. Yeah. So I'm
I'm
38.
20, I'm
Okay. Go ahead.
26.
Oh, 26. Oh, wait. Okay. I'm 38. So I'm all the way up there to where the Nintendo came. You know what I'm saying? So
No, I like Nintendo GameCube is like Nintendo GameCube and PS3
okay.
was
All
kind of
right.
like but you
Yeah.
remember like the PS2, Sega
Oh yeah.
Genesis.
I'm talking about when the I got a PS1 now. You see what I'm saying? So
Damn, bro.
I still got my Sega. I still got my Nintendo is not working no more. It was working. It just, they time had it to not work. But yeah, I still got all them systems. I mean, well, last system I got was PS2. So I haven't been playing games like that since I started working out and got busy and grown, got my son and stuff like that. So a lot of things like that. I haven't played games like that as much, but I play through him when he plays and so forth.
It was just honestly like I totally get where you're coming from. Like video games back then was just like such a surreal experience.
Right.
Like, I'm not trying to be nostalgic, but you got to
Hmm.
remember something. Like we had an opportunity where if we couldn't afford a game,
Hmm.
we just went to Blockbuster and we
Oh,
rented
all
out video games,
right. So you
right?
old enough to remember Blockbuster? Okay,
Yeah, dude. Like
that
we
was
used to go out
okay.
and rent video games. Like we were
Right,
broke
right.
as fuck, and like we got no money. Like I'm a
Yeah,
kid, like a
yeah.
young ass kid, and I'm around all these like older kids.
Hmm.
So having that was just like amazing. You get to like be in your own world, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Grr." It's having honestly like it's not just grief; it's having that outlet. You
Yeah.
know, we are human beings. I say this so many times. Like the
Hmm.
basics of being human is violence,
Hmm.
sex. It is
Right.
violence,
Yeah.
sex,
Uh.
um, and like desire.
Hmm.
We have these animalistic natures to us that we're like, nah, it's 2025. I'm gonna put that shit the back of the clock. Nah, bro, that's
Yeah.
not how human beings work, man.
Yeah. And we thrive on being social as well.
Hey, it's Dave, and I quickly just wanted to jump in and say if you've been enjoying the podcast and enjoying this episode, if you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, that'll be so greatly appreciated. Because here's the thing someone might read that review and make the choice if they want to listen to the podcast. You get to help grow this podcast with us. How fucking cool is that? Let's jump back to today's episode.
Even though social
Yes.
media
Yes.
kind of put kind of put a distance in between us, but we still try to be social. And I think back then, I'm a millennial, so back then, they say we the last of the people who do experience that with before all
I
this stuff came
honest
in.
I disagree. I think your generation and my
Hmm.
generation, early Gen Z, are like
Early
the
Gen Z.
last
Okay.
early Gen Z because I was born 99. So
Okay.
like I
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
a friend of
Yeah.
mine was born
Yeah.
like
Okay.
98,
Yeah.
2000.
Hmm.
We didn't really like internet didn't come like really affordable to like 2008,
Yeah.
2009, and then
Mhm.
people slowly started getting smartphones and shit. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we kind of relate on that level,
Okay.
which is
Alright, cool. Yeah.
bananas, bro. Because again, like
I
I'm in
mean,
my 20s. You're in your 30s, right? Like, would you ever
yeah.
think somebody in their 20s would be like, "Wait, you went through that shit too?" I'm like, "Yeah, bro."
Yeah, yeah, and it's just it's if when you growing up, you hear people be saying, "Well, yeah, back in my day," and you like, man,
Shut the fuck up, bro.
yeah. Then when you get older, now you saying, "Back in my day," you like, oh, like this. I see what they talking about. You know what I'm saying? Because it's vastly different. My son 18, but he finna be 18 tomorrow, so I can see a whole lot different, man. I mean, he was born in
Completely
'07.
different.
He was born in '07, and YouTube came out in '05. You see what I'm saying? So he don't
Yeah.
even know what it's like to be without YouTube and all this stuff like that. When we had to find like information, when
Libraries.
we had to go travel to get our information. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't on our
And
phones or anything like that.
we had to use a library computer for the
Yeah,
internet.
definitely, man, definitely.
Mm.
AOL. I don't know if you remember AOL, but that dial up,
My
man.
my brother. So I grew up literally like 45 minutes outside of New York City,
Okay.
and we didn't have wideband until about like 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
Like, people don't understand this. Like, like they think upstate is like beyond Albany, but
Mm-hmm.
there was a time like literally right outside of New York City,
Mm-hmm.
we just had one carrier, which was Verizon.
Okay.
For like one side of Rockland to the other is like a 28-minute drive.
Okay. Dang. Okay.
So it's like just one carrier, and like you wanted internet, it's $89
Yeah.
before tax a month.
Yeah.
So like I'm like also like being around people that are 18, 17, 16 years old. It's like just open up your phone and you
Mm-hmm.
just do whatever you want. Like there's no, there's no physical stores. There's no
Yeah.
like trying to go out with. By the way, going out with people is insane because like people come up with the most fucking amazing excuses in the world. Like,
Right.
nah, dude, I'm tired, man. Like I'm busy with my game. I'm like,
Uh-huh. Oh, and then even if they do go out, they ain't communicating with each other. They're just around each other, but not
no, no,
communicating
no.
with each other. You know
They're
what I'm saying?
doing, dude. I love this shit, bro. You're literally sitting there and you're all like drinking. And
Yeah,
they're like,
yeah. But see, my
what,
son,
what, huh?
most definitely, man. When I was taking my son to the
No
doctor,
judgment though.
and
Yeah.
and he was the doctor was talking about his son, and which was around the same age, maybe a year younger than my son, and he was saying him and his friends had went to like a school dance and so forth, and the guys, it was a girl he wanted to dance with. Instead of walking up to her to say, "Do you want to dance?" he texts her. He texts her to say, "Do you want to dance?" That's how much that disconnect right there is for socializing here, and like, cause you kind of thinking,
That
that.
you know what? I would
uh
love Dave Chappelle to make a bit about this. You
Okay,
know,
yeah,
you feel me? Like Dave
yeah, I
Chappelle
feel
be
you.
like, my daughter be coming home and she come from the dance, and there's a guy that she likes, and he texted her. Like
I'm
what?
telling you, man.
Like
It's crazy, man. Like, I don't know. I guess the fear of rejection is real, but at the same time, like I said, most of the time you talking to people is in group chat, it's on Facebook, Snapchat, and all that stuff like that. You don't really know how to interact with people outside of school. You know what I'm saying? So where
oh yeah.
it was really different time from when I grew up, when you grew up, and so forth. Where really that's all we had to do. You know what I'm saying? If we weren't playing games, we was outside, man. Doing whatever. So just a little, just different time, that time we in, and I believe it slowly we'll get back to that part where we getting more social. But you got 2000 when COVID happened, that kind of separated us. It had us inside a little bit more, so we slowly getting back into that mode again. But it just social media just don't. It's good and bad in a way. It's just a whole different era right now.
It's just I was telling you this earlier. Like
Mm-hmm.
I could sometimes be a little bit fruity as it. I'm just a little bit. I'm very masculine, but I can sometimes be flamboyant. And something I've noticed, especially even with guys,
Mm-hmm.
when you compliment straight men, I've noticed
Mm-hmm.
like there's almost like thank you.
Yeah.
Like they're a little caught off guard and they're like, oh my god. There's like this like lack of appreciation. It's weird, almost weird. I'm not trying to like, like say like, but there is a problem where men don't feel as determined
Mm-hmm.
and, have that feeling of like feeling good about themselves, feeling
Yeah.
that they're attractive enough. And
Yeah.
for me to come along as a gay man and
Mm-hmm.
being like, girl, you looking fly today. And they're like, oh my God, thank you.
Yeah.
We could see that shift of where, it used to be where that just used to be a part of our culture where men, women used to just be able to interact.
Yeah.
And then, like, there's almost, again, bro, this only happened over a year and a half.
Yeah.
Think about any time in your life that in a year and a half, the entire world completely changed.
Yeah. I mean, it's really so fast. You know what I'm saying? Like each year is like we age or it goes fast. Like every year is like kind of like we moving in dog years in a sense.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's crazy. Now I don't know. You ever Adam Conover? His thing is he said we don't have a decade to place our time frames to like we did in the 90s, from like in the 20s, 30s, 40s on up until the 90s, and then when it got to 2000, it's kind of crazy to call it O2s or the zeros or something like that. Then the tens, nobody really saying the tens.
They say
We can
2010s,
yeah, the 2010,
2000s, or
uh-huh,
2020s.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't really have a decade. He said most of the time when you look at the 90s, you can kind of think about the 90s, what happened in the 90s. When you say the 90s, you knew what movie was playing, what people were wearing. Same thing for the 80s, same thing for the 70s. 70s, yeah, I got a fro right now, and everything. So stuff like that, you can
I
think about those
do you
eras.
know do you know what I love about the 70s more than anything in the world?
What's that?
Motown and soul funk.
Motown said, okay, that was up.
Because it gave birth to a lot of like hip hop and rap, old school
Mm-hmm.
hip hop and rap that we had in the 80s and 90s.
Right.
What is just so beautiful about that is like through those decades you can see
Mm-hmm.
how the artists, creators from the 70s
Mm-hmm.
inspired like Wu-Tang Clan, in the
Right.
early 80s.
Yeah, right.
And to eventually like you had in the 90s, I'm trying to think,
Talking about like a 90s rapper or something like that.
I don't know why I got salt and pepper stuck in my head, but like
Oh,
this.
yeah, that's still the 80s, early 80s, early, maybe mid to late 80s, and then to the
It's not
90s.
LL Cool J. LL Cool J was also in the 80s.
80s, yeah. Uh-huh.
Damn, I really am an
You,
old.
you,
Like I
you,
only just
you
know
got, you
old
got,
school, bro.
you got Snoop Dogg, that was maybe in 92, 93.
Yeah.
Fat Joe.
Oh, Fat
Let's
Joe
see.
was amazing.
Who else? Who were we in the 90s? So it was a lot of people.
Sir. Wait. Sir. Not laughs a lot, Sir. Sir Mix-a-Lot. Sir
Okay.
Mix-a-Lot.
Yeah. Okay. I like Big Buck.
He was a weird motherfucker. He was a weird motherfucker.
Yeah.
Oh, R. Kelly. I know a lot of grievances, but come on, R. Kelly.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I mean, some people can't. Some people say you need to
my mind
separate.
is telling me no, but my body. Sorry, he just like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, like that is what the 90s was about, bro. It's
Right.
just when you go through that tunnel and channel, it's just like if I'm gonna relax on a beach, that's what I want to be listening to.
Yeah. I mean, it was a golden year, for especially, my kind and stuff like that. You use a lot of black actors and so forth and everything in that area that's, you still see to this day, and everything like that. Now it's like some of the newer actors don't have that staying power as the ones did in the 90s and so forth. So you'll hear them, you might know who they is. Oh, that's that dude, or oh, she's in that, and so and she did that, but you don't know her name. But the ones in the 90s, you kind of remember them, and I guess because I was young at the time, I grew up with them, and I know them. versus the people coming in behind it. But it was just a different time, man, for everything, man. Like I said, uh, for kids, TV show for kids and everything like that. Nickelodeon, they definitely was thriving. Love the Double Dare. Are You Afraid of the Dark? Little things, shows like that and everything. What else? Omar Gooden was in. I can't think of it right now. That might was still Double Dare he was on, but people don't know Nickelodeon had game shows. Nickelodeon don't even have that anymore, and stuff like that. So it was like
Nah.
a MTV for kids, and so forth. So
We even in the early 2000s, we had TV shows that were made for kids.
mhm,
Okay? Like people are like, "Oh my god, these shows were so inappropriate." Bro, they were not made for the parents. Like
mhm,
these people that were making these shows, like, yes, they were perverts and they had a
right,
lot of
mm,
mental issues and problems. Like
right,
we
right,
definitely
right.
know that now.
Yeah,
But
Ren and Stimpy come to mind.
thank God
Beavis and
Diddy didn't touch any of that shit with his oil.
yeah,
But the reality was, like, we had TV shows as kids, like, even though they were inappropriate,
yeah,
like, we gravitated towards that shit. And like,
mhm,
I like, having memories of like Ed, Ed and Eddie. Okay, like
yeah,
probably one of the most inappropriate shows for kids. And
uh-huh,
I just was like, I'm not leaving this TV. I'm watching this shit through.
yeah, yeah. So I by the time Eddie came, I was like maybe like a young adult by that, close
We had
to
the
it.
Proud Family. Do you remember the Proud
Okay,
Family?
I
I
remember
don't know.
Proud Family. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, definitely remember Proud Family. Like I said, Ren and Stimpy come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Beavis and Butthead. These in the '90s here. Beavis and Butthead. Um, Rocco's Modern Life is another one because his friend was a woman slur. He called because he was a cow. They call cow heifers and everything, and that's what his friend name was. It was a cow. He called him heifer or whatever. But stuff like that, and everything.
There was
It's just crazy.
I don't know if you, there was, maybe this was after your time. There's a show of this kid that was in a house full of like monsters. Ugh.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It was three of them, three
Something, yeah,
main
like it
ones.
was,
One had one eye, one long eye, and
yeah, like black almost. Yeah, yeah, hold on.
dog. I know what you're talking about. It was like three main monsters. Scream if you're afraid of the dark, or something like that. Scared of the dark, something like that. Finna look it up.
Foster Home for Imaginary Friends.
Okay, now I ain't heard of that one. Okay,
Fosters. Yeah, well,
okay,
again, we're just giving great examples of like
right,
the
right, right.
shit that nobody can get away with anymore. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, I have friends that have kids, and just to
Mhm.
see the stuff that they're watching, I'm like, thank God
uh,
I had my childhood like
oh
20
yeah,
years ago.
yeah. I tell my niece son that all the time, man. I'm like, man, and she
Ugh.
and she
They're
even
watching
like
our shit though,
that's
dude. Like,
I just about to say
they're
that.
watching
Just about to say
Powerpuff
that.
Girls, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
wait, what? When did this
yeah,
happen? Hello.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. She likes some of that stuff that we grew up on and everything. But my son here was here and there, but he mostly on the newer stuff. But and everything. I'm still gonna work on him. Have him go down memory lane on some stuff. But yeah, man, it definitely, man, was a time to be alive. Growing up, being an '80s, I'm an '80s baby, born in '86. So, but growing up in the '90s, so that definitely was a time to be alive, man. For his kids, wise.
I think it also gives a upper hand, because if we
Mm,
look at our country right now more than ever, I talked about this before,
mm,
being able to have our own freedom and being
right.
able to represent who we are as people is
Yeah.
so important to us.
Hmm.
Because even though of how young I am, a lot of
Hmm.
people even my age see on like the past 20 years of how much has been banned, stripped, taped, cut, and repasted over
Hmm.
and over again, to the point where like, fuck this shit. I want something, I want something more real. I want
Yeah.
something that feels more genuine, you know, like even going with, we were talking about with fitness, right? You have the
Hmm.
same thing.
Hmm.
The amount of times you walk into like LA Fitness
Hmm.
and you see those bullshit coaches that I swear to God are on steroids. Okay.
uh,
Like, I don't, and they're just like, all right, give me 5. All right, you're doing great work. I'm like,
Yeah.
Are you really trying to make people feel more shit about themselves? Like,
Uh-huh.
I'm not trying to judge, but there's like no like genuine approach or anything. You're just doing this just for a freaking paycheck, you
Mhm.
know? And I get that, but like, you're there to help people. Okay.
Right.
Like we've talked about before, like this is an outlet. This can be somebody's therapy. This can be somebody's way of like disciplining themselves.
Mhm.
And then you're taking their money and giving them pretty much like bullshit for 45 minutes.
Yeah. Um, let me see how I want to kind of address that.
I know, because
So,
that's kind of heavy. That's kind of heavy shit. You're like,
because I don't like to talk about my fellow fitness trainers and stuff like that. You
but
know,
it's not.
kind of.
It's not everybody. But you
Yeah. Yeah.
have that in the crowd, and that is something to take into
Yeah.
account.
Yeah. So when we get certified, so now you do got a lot of them just come off the gate saying, "Oh, I'm gonna train some people," because they went into they got to a level of a results or success with their whatever goal they have. So like, okay, I did this, I put it in time, I can help others, and then and you can say that quote unquote fitness coach and so forth. But just because you got yourself to a result, don't mean you can help others get to a certain result. But with that said, the ones that do have like a certification in certain aspects, and you know, it can be a reputable certification as well. But I would say when we go through those certification process, they don't really tell you how to be a trainer. They don't. They just tell you mostly how not to get sued. I say that all the time. It's just basically proper form, this or that or whatever. But get a person to from point A to B or point A to Z, it doesn't do that. So it's a lot of people out there really just winging it and not really knowing what it takes or structuring it out into getting a person to their said goal. So there, you can have a lot of that going on where they kind of mimicking stuff that they don't seen or stuff they already don't did, and they're telling this other person to do it. But yeah, you lifting like a bodybuilder. You telling this person to squat 200 pounds and everything, and she and her goal is not to gain a whole lot of muscle. She want to just lose some weight. So you having her doing these deadlifts and all that stuff like that don't make sense. So it's just like you just basically just teaching them what you did. That's basically what you're doing. But with the ones that are certified and so forth, they got a level of maybe some way of structuring it, but like I said, at the same time, they don't really have that. If they haven't been in the gym and gone through the process themselves and so forth, having that practical knowledge, it definitely get to a point where they just kind of guessing to see what's what. And then true enough, what you had said earlier too, some of them is in it for the paycheck. Something quick and everything. They don't really have that grit and grind or that passion to really see, to really see this to its fruition, and that give us a bad rep. So that's why I said that earlier when we was talking. We usually get that bad rep because there's a lot of them out there really just out for the check, thinking they can help everybody when you can't. So I mean, I turn people down if I know I can't fully help them, in a certain way. So I think all
Yeah,
that is important.
it is.
Mhm.
You know, I I'm currently being trained to work in the automotive industry.
Okay.
And in our school, we have like an open garage every 3 weeks.
Okay.
So I went there yesterday, and there's very much also like again the same attitude being an auto technician, where you have your
Hmm.
ASCs, you get your certification, become a master tech.
Hmm.
But yesterday, like I was changing out my water pump on my car for like the first time,
Yeah.
and going through that process and like being frustrated, because like, I've never done this before, and trying to
Right.
like figure out do like the right approach. And my teacher said something. You're going to get frustrated with a customer's car because every
Hmm.
single time you approach and you get that experience, you're going to run into different situations.
Okay.
And the only way you're going to learn is you keep on getting yourself in the field,
Hmm.
working,
Yeah.
again, in your case, clients, in my case,
Hmm.
it'd be cars.
Hmm.
But as you keep on doing that, that's what makes you a better technician. Yeah, you
Right.
need all of your certifications, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Obviously. I mean, you want to make sure you get insurance, if you
Right.
get fucked up.
Yeah.
But that experience,
Hmm.
that is how craftsmanship with your
Right.
body, with your hands
I mean,
works.
I mean,
It's not just a piece of paper.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a reason why when you go to the doctor and so forth, they call it a practice instead of saying, that this is what they do and they fully knowledgeable in it. And then even then, they still revert back to looking at a book. If a certain thing going on, they gonna go online sometimes and look at stuff. So it ain't always they just got it up here. So it's by practice and experience. So yeah, so I definitely agree with that, man. Like I said, definitely need that practical knowledge. So with the certifications, they are really just like I would say biased to what they want you to learn, but they don't really tell you. Like I said, they don't tell you everything that you need that you're gonna face coming into working with different type of clients. So you really, it just like I said, it's just really a piece of paper. But so you really gonna come into contact with the people, like, what this person got, this certain ailment, this person had this certain genetic makeup and so forth. So those things that the certification ain't companies ain't telling you or whatever, you gonna have to really just figure out pretty much on your own and everything like that. So it comes with the experience. And I get why they usually tell you to have that practical knowledge before getting the certification. Because I have had people call me, just like, I just got my certification. Can you help me? Which I think is an untapped market, but they'll call me and like, can you help me? Become a trainer. I don't know what to do and how to do. So you'd be surprised, by how many people do get started and don't really know what to do or where to go. So, but yeah, it definitely comes with that experience and more knowledgeable than what you have, get certified in a certain space. But experience going to be the best and true teacher.
You have to almost be able to look yourself in the mirror
Hmm.
and say to yourself, what do you really want to do?
Hmm.
Because, you know, there is this level of almost ignorance as
Hmm.
being famous, being viral and,
Okay.
getting to like the highest class, you
Hmm.
know, and having like coolest cars, got the coolest whip and got
Yeah.
that Miami Vice house, bro. Like that is all wonderful and nice.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be nice for you to be able to have those little successes
Yeah.
that you're proud of,
Hmm.
and have made you a better person? And like, even if it hasn't given you, you know, uh, all of the luxuries and the most incredible things in the world,
Yeah.
but it's given you the pleasure and joy of what you are capable to do. That I feel like that is like the ultimate thing to strive for. Cause like, yeah, if you don't necessarily like become like the most successful,
Hmm.
you kind of are the most successful
Yeah, well,
for yourself.
definitely, especially since you went out on a whim and trying something. Most people don't go for their dreams or goals that they want to achieve in life. They kind of mostly stay stuck in the comfort zone or what they perceive is the thing they're supposed to be doing versus the thing that they really truly want.
And what they gravitate towards.
Yeah,
You
and,
you could be you could be so scared of everything and never do
mhm,
anything.
right. I mean, I agree, man. And it is sometimes too is like I said, it can be fear. One don't want to step out of comfort zone. You're scared you're gonna make an ass out of yourself. You're gonna, and everybody gonna shame you for it and stuff like that. All that can be precedent, but I think too is like the perception of what society want us to do and be. Our parents, our family, and all that stuff like that. They want us to be a certain way, but other than what we want to do, and that we kind of get locked into that box and so forth because we want that acceptance from everybody, but not being true to ourselves in the process.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And imagining imagining seeing our dads, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in this hypothetical scenario where you could have like just a minute, maybe 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely feel like if I had that ability, I know that he would be proud of how far I've come.
Right.
Because all of the times that I could have given up, because
Mm-hmm.
let's be honest, shit happens. You get into fights,
Mm-hmm.
people move in different directions. You have death that happens.
Yeah.
You run out of money. That shit happens a little too often
Yeah.
than it should
Yeah.
be.
Life be life.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
still, we know that even though they're not around anymore,
Hmm.
they're still, in a way, looking down at us and
Yeah.
seeing what we're accomplishing, regardless if they have their hand on our shoulder.
Right. Yeah. I like
They're
that,
always
man.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, long as, and then, like I said, long as you keep them in your mind and your heart, they always be living with, through you, and so forth. So keeping that memory, alive, I think is very important and necessary to the evolution of yourself and on your journey. Whatever they, your dad instilled in you and whatever mine instilled in me and so forth, that carries on. And when you think about it, it's not just the financial things that we leave on to our kids. It's the knowledge too, the knowledge and experience that we pass on. So again, and me starting with him with the fitness and so forth, and me carrying on now as a fitness trainer. Now I can pass that on to my son, and hopefully he passes it on to his, and everything. So things like that can definitely traverse. And so, like I said, that's keeping his memory alive through and through, even when I'm gone. So yeah, so I definitely agree with you on that.
It's amazing because you have where your parents, in your case, your dad,
Hmm.
instills something in you that it's almost so ingrained. You know,
Yeah.
it's it's not just a skill that's been given to you. It's almost like as a parent, you realize. I think you kind of realize this as a parent too.
Hmm.
What you can give over to your children.
Yeah.
We like to complain like, oh, like I can't be a great parent because of like all this stuff that's happened before, and I'm going to mess up. Everybody messes up,
Right.
bro. I'm
Definitely.
sure your dad messed up. My dad
Yeah.
messed up plenty.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
yeah, that's just a reality of the situation. But
Yeah.
you're able to take those aspects, those good parts that you
Hmm.
have, and instill them in your own family, your own
Hmm.
kids, and
Hmm.
let that continue on. Because when your kid looks at you,
Yeah.
they can see their grandfather that they never met inside
Right.
of you.
That- I like that. Yeah. I mean, good or bad, you don't learn something from it, from your parents and so forth. Whether you may not fully agree, may you not like what they did, you think they could have did a little bit better. You definitely learn from it in some kind of aspect. So, it ain't just, you should just be praising the good things. You look at the bad things for what they were. You know what I'm saying? Don't dwell on them, but learn from it and try to make better decisions in that regards, and learning from your parents' mistakes and so forth. And like you said, I have made mistakes as well. So hopefully my son don't make the same mistakes I made, and hopefully I'm trying to instill in him to be where he don't make some of those same mistakes. I know he's gonna make his own class of mistakes, but at least
For sure.
yeah. So but at least I want him to do better than I did. So that, and if he can keep improving and pass that on, my name, our generations and stuff like that will definitely be even better for
He has something to be proud of and
it.
something to look forward to.
Mm,
We've said this earlier. The thing about any type of craft or art, or I mean martial arts, or even training, can be a part of that in regards to
mm,
fitness, because we we tend to love to do things.
right.
We love to make things. We love to make experience. I'm
Mm,
sure you've had people that you've trained with
mm,
that it probably brings a smile on your face when you
yeah.
see them and they're doing great and they're like, "Hey, how you doing, man?" Like, "How you doing?" I'm like, "I'm doing the best, bro."
Mm,
You feel great because you help somebody along that journey as well. And the thing about the mistakes that we make, right? Because again, we are human beings.
right.
We still have those other achievements. We still have those other people that we have changed,
Yeah.
that feel that like positive energy. They feel that good vibes. They feel like this
Uh,
connection to it.
I mean, definitely, man. You don't really know who watching either. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. I can post something on Facebook or something like where I'm talking about fitness, whatever I'm talking about, and I might get one or two likes. Maybe don't get no likes, but you know what I'm saying? That's the name of the game.
I ghost and post, bro. I post and I'm out. I'm
Yeah. So
out.
yeah, I don't worry about it too much no more, and everything, because I realize that once they see me around and then everything, like, oh, you doing this and everything, so I know they watching. They might not be posting or liking and stuff like that. They watching, so they are seeing it, even though they not, I guess, quote unquote, specifying that they seen it, but they are looking at it.
You remember what we said earlier, as we represent the best version of ourselves,
Right.
where, like, I do post on Instagram, but the thing is, like, I just got a lot of stuff that's going on where you want to know what's going on with the podcast
Mm-hmm.
right here. You're listening to it, you know? And it's just kind of the same thing for you too, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
where you
definitely.
kind of want to know what I'm doing as a trainer. Well, here's kind of what I do. All
Right,
right.
right,
Like, here's just a
right.
little bit of, and it takes, again, it's almost having trust that people will take that message and pass that
Mm-hmm.
along.
Yeah.
And does everybody have the capability? No.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people that have that capability to do that.
Right.
And that's why we're doing this, is to
Yeah.
reach those people. Even though it's like, out of 5 million people and maybe 100,000, maybe it's just 10.
Yeah.
But those 10 are just as important.
Man, definitely, man. And yeah, so and what we doing is going is documented. So it definitely can live on even way past us. So even when you just stop doing this, it lives on. So it's definitely being a help, because it's things we don't looked at in the past that helped us now that don't been created already. So definitely, man, being in this content creation space, it is something, rewarding. So it ain't just about I guess, it ain't just about getting the content out there to make money or get some kind of level of people viewing you and so forth, but it's also to be genuinely the people you helping, reaching them in some sort of way where to keep them going and toward their journey, whether it be you, how you doing with through layers, how I'm doing with through fitness and so forth. It definitely keeps people going and going about their day and living, I would say, living life even more and that much more better and enjoyable.
For sure. And
Mm-hmm.
looking at history, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love sometimes watching those old interviews,
Yeah.
like even the ones from like the 70s, because that is almost a time capsule.
Right. That's what I'm
You're
saying.
want Yeah, you're watching those people talk. And here's the wildest part, man.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you watch those interviews and you're like, they're talking about the same problems we'd be dealing with right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you could almost be like, damn, we actually are like continuing on
Yeah.
in a way. Our
Yeah.
past teaches us how to be better in our future. Our
Mm-hmm.
present is our strongest gift because we're able to create that future.
Right.
We have we got the time loop wrong. We think it's just straight and it ain't going any other nah.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I mean, I, I think we dwell too much on the past. You only, you should look at the past to help you to traject your future. But yeah, we sometimes we just stuck in the moment, and everything just on our day to day. We ain't not really like trying to go forward and what we can be and what we can do, and so forth. I think a lot of that is missing, in people. It just go to work, go home, start again, and repeat. But there's no living your life in the way that you want it, always wanted to do it, or how you see fit, you know.
Yeah. It,
Mm-hmm.
in regards to corporate,
Mm-hmm.
the elephant in the room is corporate America has done a lot of damage in this country, even though they've made a lot of money for this country.
Mm-hmm.
And it has taken a very heavy toll on a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
When you take people that are working 9 to 5s in a corporate environment,
Yeah.
5 days a week, sometimes they use gym to let out their anger and rage.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sometimes the most beautiful thing that you can see. And sometimes it can bring tears to your eyes
Mm-hmm.
because you have this person that literally, like severs their life, where they give part of their life to something that they don't really care about. They're just there for the paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And then they come home and they've got all these feelings and emotions, and they don't know what to do with them. And
Yeah.
sometimes that's like literally like pulling so fucking hard you can feel like, the veins starting to pop out. you know
Yeah. Oh, no,
it's
oh, I
sad,
thought.
but I think it's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I always say it just really found your outlet, basically. Hopefully it's a healthy outlet. So I always say fitness is a nice addiction. You know what I'm saying? Once you get it integrated into your lifestyle, but yeah, finding that outlet, like I told you earlier, the video games was one of them. Just being active, really, playing ball. I play basketball too as well, and just being really active. That was really my outlet to let go.
Yeah. I
Hmm.
think also where you're having people like this, they're gravitating towards things that give them real sense of purpose.
Right.
Because again, like they're spending those 8 hours doing something that they really don't want to be doing.
Yeah.
You know, and some people are fortunate enough that they don't have to deal with that situation and they're just able to either get into fitness or martial arts or, yoga or tai chi, whatever it may be,
Hmm.
without that. But
Yeah.
I do think it is interesting that the more that you industrialize people and more that environment changes around it, the
Yeah.
more and more people want something that is organic, natural,
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
takes them back to nature or gives them like some ground.
True.
Is that a good
Yeah.
analogy? Like a
Yeah.
good common ground?
Yeah, or tranquility. I get what you're saying. Yeah, so it just, like I said, it just really depends on what that is for them, and sometimes unfortunately, they do go to drugs and alcohol and stuff like that in a sense, but really finding that outlet is even finding something that you're good at, or whatever. It can be some little small little thing, but you want to get out, have some kind of way that you can decompress and everything. Because
100. Yeah.
that's so important. Not
Yeah.
just for your physical health, but your mental health as well.
Having a healthy outlet. You're so right. A lot of the times you run into industries. I worked in the food industry for 7 years, and that got me addicted to
Mm,
cigarettes
mm.
because everybody in the food industry is smoking cigarettes and doing cocaine. Like it's because you're expecting from human beings like the workload of robots.
Yeah.
I
Oh, I've
tell
been there.
people like, bro, when you go to a restaurant, like just respect, be nice.
Mm,
Like if there is a problem, don't be a fucking asshole. Because I swear to God, like there's somebody in the kitchen that's gonna get screamed at, and it's gonna
mm.
be your fucking fault,
Yeah.
and it's not fun.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that
Oh.
like what I'm getting at is too. I'm able to now like go out and almost feel that pain
Hmm.
where like I'm able to go to a restaurant and like I understand that like I'm not making the food, but I kind of respect the staff that's coming to the table, the ones
Yeah.
that are on the cold pass and the hot pass and passing
Hmm.
things along.
Hmm.
You have that added knowledge that
Yeah.
you can maybe pass on to other people, maybe allow people to be a little less inconsiderate.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I remember I used to work at Pizza Hut, so I do know a little bit
Oh
about that.
Jesus.
Yeah, so
Oh
and
Jesus.
then
That that
yeah,
must have been. Do you work weekends
for is what with Pizza Hut.
when you were working in Pizza Hut?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you got think it's Pizza Hut. So Friday and Saturday, though, Friday National Pizza Day. So yeah, it gets crazy, man, around that time. But yeah, so working in that space, I used to work at Levi's too as well. So and that was definitely a job I didn't want to be at. And it just really like days in, days out, you doing the same thing. People want they wanted you to work like again, like you said, work like a robot, can't talk to nobody. Like, man, we here 12 hours out the day, and you expect nobody to say nothing to nobody. You know what I'm saying? So, you know,
It's
man,
crazy, bro.
man, I'm telling you, man. So I had to go, man. It was killing my. Yeah, I was getting depressed being there. So I definitely understand that. So that's why I tell people, man, if you going for your dreams, and so if it's something you want to do, man, if you gotta work, go ahead. do what you do, but then work on your dream afterwards, and find some kind of way to work around it so you can leave that said job and everything. Because nobody just want to be, you don't want to have your life just, and nothing wrong with ain't about working a 9 to 5, but you don't want to be at a place that you hate 30 years out, and everything. They ain't got nothing to show for it afterwards, and so forth. So
Yeah.
you at least gotta want to at least like or love where you at, and everything for the
Oh,
most
for
part.
sure.
hmm Yeah.
I, I
So.
I wanted to touch on with you because I know that you mentioned you do a little bit of music on the side.
hmm
I I kind of like that balance of where you're able to have your main hustle, what's bringing in the bread, what's taking care of your expenses, something that you actually like passionate and care about.
Yeah.
You know, for me, that's kind of why I moved to the automotive industry.
Okay.
Um, I love electronics. I love working on cars, even though I get frustrated sometimes. I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna get through this. But
hmm
it's kind of the same thing also in your case, where you found this passion and love for fitness. You've been able
hmm
to be a coach and trainer and be able to do all of that, um, and also be able to have that side hustle with your music. No,
Yeah. Well, I mean, is it something you want me to elaborate on?
yeah, I wanted to
Uh,
hear that journey for you. Like you're able
um,
to have basically something that takes care of yourself that you love, and then also
mm.
have that passion project on the side.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Now, I will say to that with me, when I got into music, it's something I always wanted to do. By the way, like shoot, since I was like 16 when I wrote my first lyric in art class and so forth,
Oh
and so
wow.
yeah, it's something I always wanted to do. So, but didn't really start doing it until around when COVID happened, when everybody just really discovered themselves or discovered something or discovered themselves in some kind of way. So I like, man, I always been wanting to do it, itching to it. I write something here and there, but I just said, let me go all out with it and everything. But as I got into it and started like researching more and seeing how the music industry work, I realized it's a lot into it other than just the talent alone. So I feel like if so, what I came up to is if I'm gonna go into it, because I do want to, not only like I love doing it, but I want to make money from it too as well. So if I'm gonna go into it, and how they saying with Spotify and how Spotify paying for, they saying ain't a whole lot of money in music and so forth. So if I'm gonna go into it, I want to make sure I go into it the right way. So, and it takes a lot of dedication and
Oh yeah.
yeah, and commitment to just make music, as well as it does running a fitness business as well. So those are two dedications that can pull away from each other. So
hmm
my approach to it is,
You got to balance them.
yeah. And so my approach to it is that, like I said, once I start getting stuff recorded, I'm just gonna get something out there little by little and let everything transpire as it transpires, and go from there. And then once I can get myself to a spot where my fitness business is running without me, like I have other trainers and so forth under me, and they doing the coaching and stuff like that. And I'm just really the face and the salesperson of it and everything, and the marketing version of it. Then I can make fully pour more into the music space. But still, like I said, but as of now, I'm definitely gonna be putting out stuff throughout the times and stuff like that as I get that going. If that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And
Mm-hmm.
you're right. I mean, you have to every single person in many ways have to figure out a way to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have those things that we're passionate about. But I love your approach because you're doing it in a way, look, like I've loved this as long as I can remember. When I was in arts class, like I had this passion and love to start creating lyrics and making music.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have a career that you'll be able to build for yourself that
Right.
doesn't involve corporate, that just involves you, something that you
Mm-hmm.
love. And being able to have that balance with that, maybe eventually, like you said, just shifting over to one side, still having that fitness still be a part of your life, but
Mm-hmm.
more on the side burner.
Mm-hmm.
That gives you options, man. People forget,
Yeah.
like, you put one fucking apple in the basket, like,
Yeah.
ah, you have, like, it could have a worm in there, it could be bad, like, you don't know.
Right. I mean, you don't know how it can take off, and everything. And
Right.
the way I look at it, me working with artists and entertainers, it's like a whole ecosystem of a circle and so forth. So wanting to work, my specializing in working with artists and entertainers, so specifically music artists, musicians, actors, and models, and other creators as well. But
I like the part of models. We got
why
to
you say
talk
that?
about which kind of models.
uh, you know what? I ain't think of it like that, man. I mean, the ones that gotta have a certain look about them. I would say
Oh
fashion
yeah.
models, runway models, maybe something like that,
Mm-hmm.
print models, and stuff like that. But yeah. So with that said, they like if I'm in that market with them and so forth, so I'm making music and so forth, so that person got, you coach and train stuff like that, or and I got a community as well, man. I want to be in in the network you got going on and so forth, or vice versa. Training somebody and then they say, oh, you do this, you make music stuff like that, man. I need some, do this. Let's collab on this. So it all goes back into each other. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it too. And then it won't be, it's not too far left side, so it ain't nothing vastly different. It ain't like I'm going from training to starting a restaurant business. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. It's not.
I
It's
know.
not. Yeah, it's not
I know
vastly
what you
different.
mean.
Yeah, it's not vastly different. You know what I'm saying? So, so it definitely complements each other in that way. So that's how I'm approaching that too as well. So it's not keeping me off track, and it's still in the vein of what I'm trying. I'm wanting to convey and push forward.
You have you have an artistic mindset,
Yeah.
and I feel like most people have ways of tapping into it, but you got
Hmm.
to put work into their, like, really put in work there,
Hmm.
because you know you could dream from today until tomorrow, but like if you don't
Hmm.
have like a plan that
Hmm.
works for you,
Yeah.
it's you got free choice.
Hmm.
That bullshit of like, no, 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 you gotta do what makes money. There
Yeah.
are things that you're passionate about that makes money.
Right.
You just have to be able to find those and put them together. And
Yeah.
I don't think there is an easy fix for every single person. I don't think like
Yeah.
there's like a one quick, yeah, you do this and do that, and you
Yeah.
have to figure that out on your own.
Yeah. Definitely, man. It's to like you said, to each his own, man. And someone will argue that I don't want to make my hobby. I don't want to turn my hobby into making money and so
You don't
forth. I
have to.
mean, yeah, you don't have to, and so forth. But you got to find something that you enjoy. You know what I'm saying? I feel that's my opinion. Because if you're doing something just for the money and you don't really fully enjoy it, and to a degree, you ain't gonna do it long, and everything. Now, if you something you passionate about doing and so forth, regardless of the money, you'll be doing it forever. And that takes me back to what you were talking about with certain trainers and stuff like that not taking it serious. They end up falling out because they not taking it serious. And everything, because it's a hard industry to be in. So if you don't fully love it and you're doing it as a cash grab, you're gonna buy out soon. And that's why I see it that you just gotta really like, if it's not your hobby, you gotta at least like or love what you're doing.
All in all, I think maybe you get more than just this life. Maybe
Hmm.
you get multiple afterlives. Who cares? In
Hmm.
reality, you get this one.
Yeah.
I think that you got to make the best with what you have
Hmm.
and be able to do whatever you want with it. There's so
Hmm.
much that is in our hands, it's in our own minds.
Yeah.
The idea of I can't, it's not I can't, it's I
Yeah.
won't, or I don't want to.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. It's really about framing your mind in the way of what you want. Because a lot of people come to me, I can't do this or I don't have the time and so forth. All right, okay, you're making a lot of excuses of how you can't do something. Let's make some excuses of how you can. And that's how I try to flip it. Yeah. And it take the same level of energy and thought process to say a reason why I can't do it because of this. but I can do it because of this. And you, when you think of it that way, it'll help you move in a whole nother on a whole nother frequency and getting stuff done and actually truly reaching your goals.
100%.
Mhm.
I was gonna ask you, man. Do you have any? You haven't got any social media links? Website, YouTube.
Yeah. Now, like for YouTube, I don't really do my bid. My name, my business is Next World Fitness. I don't really. I got that YouTube, but it's not really active. So, as I get this podcast out, Sculpt and Create, that's the YouTube I'm gonna be having stuff on. Hopefully, having something out tomorrow. Excuse me, but yeah. So you can find me on at my name of business, Next World Fitness. Oh, that's at nextworldfitness.com. Social media, I'm on Instagram at Next World Fitness, TikTok at Trea Da Fit Artist, Twitter NXT World Fitness. If you're on Twitter or you want to call it X, Facebook, you can look up my page is Next World Fitness, but I'm also my personal biz profile. That's Trey86. And if I'm leaving out anything, I think that's it for the most part. But if
Mm-hmm.
you go on on nextworldfitness.com, my socials are on there as well, and all my other information too. Yeah,
Easy way to find it. And
definitely.
for anybody that's a little lazy, you could just check the description box below,
I
and there'll be
appreciate that.
all those wonderful clickable links for all you fidgeters out there. Listen, I gotta say, Trey, like I've had other fitness coaches on, and
Mhm.
you know, I genuinely believe that it's an art. You know,
Yeah.
being able to like diversify and just being able to work with different types of people, and especially the
Mhm.
years of experience you've had,
Mhm.
that takes a lot of passion, a lot of blood,
Mhm.
sweat, and tears.
Yeah,
And it's just incredible, man. I mean, I wish you the best of luck in your music career as well. Like,
I
I think
appreciate
you're
it.
headed to good things, man. I
I
really
thank you,
do.
man. Thank you, man, and I appreciate you, for having me on. And I like this. It is your particular podcast. I listen a little bit at your podcast, but me being on it, and everything, I thoroughly
Oh yeah.
enjoyed it, man. And so forth. This is the first one I like where it's like a comedy and everything going back and so forth. So it just wasn't fully into what I got going on, but it just really like, man, to go back in memory lane and talk about those time. I
Oh
thoroughly
yeah.
enjoyed this podcast, man. It was fun, man.
We did it old school style, my man.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man.
Well, for anybody out there, if you want to check out more of the podcast, you can find us on everywhere and anywhere who wants to group pod. So with that, catch you motherfuckers next week.
Peace out.
Peace out.